Hi guys, and welcome back to K-Tapes. This week I promised you I was gonna get something else for you because last week I had like about 40 tapes that I showed you and the video was like a bit over an hour. But this week I do have batch number 2 and that's about, I would say, 30 tapes. What I did is I split my remaining tapes into 2 batches. And those are 2 batches of 30 tapes each, or 32 roughly, anyway, about 30 tapes. So we're gonna get to the first batch today, which is technically the second batch. And we'll get to the last one perhaps next week or in a couple of days. I'm just finishing cleaning those tapes and it's extremely demanding and especially time consuming. So I'm gonna be honest with you, I've been cleaning tapes for now 3 weeks, and it's been difficult. That's the least I can say. It's, oh my god, it's so much work and dedication, but I do love tapes and I do love clean tapes, and I want clean tapes on my shelves. And when you do get the tapes, when I sell some stuff, I also want you to get like really good looking premium copies of those really rare films in your collection, not some like half, you know, dusty tapes and with some mold and maybe cockroaches or what else inside of them. So anyway, without waiting any longer, let's dive into this. Again, there is no specific order. I'm just going to show you what I have. It's in the box right next to me. So let's start with a Asian film. So this looks like, I don't know what, I think like someone told me this is like the cover art is from a movie called Jakarta, but it's not that film at all. It is a Mandarin, I think it's Taiwanese film. So it's in Mandarin with actually English subtitles, which is so cool. And the film is Counter Attack with Bruce Lee, but L-I, not L-E-E, so Bruce Lee. So yeah, the one of the famous Bruce Lee clones. And this film was 1981, if I'm not confused. You can see, I think like the scenes obviously on the back. Well, I think you got Bruce Lee here. They don't have anything to do with the film. Maybe this one does. To be honest with you, I've never seen it. I'm not a big like kung fu fan, although sometimes I do buy those tapes because I know some people want them. But these days I really just go for the rare kung fu ones, the one that I know like perhaps have like English subtitles or are widescreen, which is a bit rare by the way, or for example have the original Mandarin or Cantonese track, which is not offered on other releases of the same film. So this film anyway, I'm not too sure, but I thought it was like fairly rare. Anyway, you have the title on the side, Counter Attack. I thought it was something else because the cover is quite misleading, to say the least. So there you go, Counter Attack with Bruce Lee, 1981. I think it's quite rare because, like I said, it is in Mandarin with original English, what am I saying with original? With English subtitles. So originally Mandarin with English subtitles. And the other cool thing is that obviously the entire credit scene is all like squeezed because it's anamorphic. So you kind of have the original like aspect ratio if you re-squeeze it. So anyway, that's it. That's it for this film. So Counter Attack. Okay, next, this one is really cool. It's been a while since I had a copy of this one. I did sell one, perhaps, I think 2 months ago. It's Tombs of the Blind, well, it's Tomb of the Blind Dead. Is there an S? Well, it could be a typo. Tomb of the Blind Dead. Anyway, the famous Spanish horror film about the Crusaders, like the Templar, sorry. And this copy is actually pretty clean. It is not the original box. I had to replace it because it was quite beat up. But if you look at the cover, it is really clean. Other than, I mean, the sleeve is really clean. Let me just move it, okay, like this. So here you go, the original, yeah, the original sleeve. By the way, yeah, it's never been re-released in South Korea. What am I saying? Why am I saying like the original sleeve? But yeah, I mean, the Dongyang label, and that is from, let me check, 1984. So it is almost 40 years old. Well, does it have any sun fade? I think it does have a little bit, like the red is rather a bit pinkish. If I just tilt it like this, you can probably notice. Otherwise, it's a very good looking copy. Like the red here on the top and the green and the blue, you can see they are all their original colors. Even the, let me just focus here, the production is in bright yellow. So perhaps, I think maybe there was a sticker at some point here, that's why it's never been hit by the sun, but I would say maybe no, because it is pink. But is it supposed to be pink? It could be. Hard to tell, because see the blue on the back, it hits the side a little bit and it's still the same blue. So I'm tempted to say that this is originally pink like this. It's not supposed to be red. So that would make it a, I mean, if it's the case, that means it would be an unfaded copy. And let me just show you very quickly. The tape inside is very clean as well. I cleaned all those tapes, by the way, like I said at the beginning of the video. Took me nearly 3 weeks to clean everything, but of course I had about over 100 tapes, so it's extremely time consuming. All right, let's move on. Well, since sadly with the passing of Ruggiero Deodato, well, here I have for you Cut and Run by him. That was a movie he did in the 80s, and it was kind of capitalizing a little bit on the success of Cannibal Holocaust, somehow, you know, with jungle action and stuff. I've never seen it like entirely. I've always seen like bits and pieces of it. I know it's really well made. It's pretty decent as well. Good film. I should maybe it's time now for me to watch it. Anyway, let's just check the condition of this tape. As you can see, it is like brilliant, beautiful, amazing near-mint copy. Well, you remember what I told you before? Just check the yellow. If the yellow is yellow on your spine, it means it's absolutely unfaded, and it's the case right here. If you can compare with the Cut and Run on the cover here, the yellow here, the orange yellow, and you compare it with the spine, it is exactly identical. So this copy is unfaded. It's beautiful. Okay, so here is the back cover. Oh, by the way, this is just a little thing here for you guys. You see like those little lines? Usually they do that as a form of censorship, because there might be, although like breast is here, but I don't know, like they wanted to censor this part. This happens sometimes on Korean tapes. They would put like white lines like that, even though you kind of see what's behind, but whatever. Yeah. Okay, so there you go. Cut and Run, beautiful copy, near mint, gorgeous, from NVC. Okay, next I have, this came from like another seller online. Sadly, the guy who sells these, I would call those like blind buys. The reason I'm saying that is because when I bought them, there was like only one picture. That's it, that's all. So there were no photos of like the inside, the spine, the tape, whatsoever. It's just like this picture, and the guy would just write down, I have many tapes. I didn't have time to check. Just check the photo to see if that's what you need. That's it, that's all. So basically, is the tape working, not working? Is it moldy? There's no information. This tape was actually quite moldy. I had to clean it. Well, look at the job. It's beautiful now. So it is nice and it plays well, because I double checked it. Although the only problem is the sleeve. Although the sleeve, you look at it like now, like this right now, it looks fine. I'm not going to show you that, but actually the top here, I would say about 1 centimeter. I think it had like water damage or something. Well, maybe you can see one or not. So this part here, well, let me zoom in a little bit again. You see the corner here? This is kind of falling apart like, sorry, I don't have the word in English, but s'effriter. Effriter means like it's just like brittle. It's breaking away. Like basically, if I poke at this, like the paper right like straight, it will just kind of fall off by itself. So I think all this part here is like that. So I don't want to touch it because I don't want to break it any further, any more than this little corner here. So that's the only downside of this copy. Same goes on the spine, I think the back also right here. Everything else is fine though. Yeah, so that's the only sad part about this tape, because this is really rare. I mean, Pray for That, the Korean release, I've actually never seen it. It's the first time I've seen it, so that's why I picked it up right away. But yeah, if I knew about this, like if I was in a store and I would have seen this, perhaps I don't know, depending on the price, you know, it's a chance I don't know if I would have taken or not, but being purchased on the internet, there was no way for me to know about this. But I mean, it's still like, if you pick it up like this, it's fine, it's good looking. I mean, for any collector of rare ninja films, I mean, this is a must. I mean, you should grab it absolutely. Okay, so this was Pray for That with Sho Kusugi. Okay, next I have another Dongyang, or also DNS. It's called Wheels of Fire. I think this was a kind of like a Mad Max ripoff, like post-apocalyptic film by Cirio Santiago from, is it Spanish or Filipino? I think it's Filipino. So Wheels of Fire, what can I say about it? I mean, I've never seen the film. I kind of know what it is. I remember the box, like the North American release back in the days. And this is, by the way, on the super cool DNS label. And as you can see, this copy is absolutely gorgeous. There's absolutely no sun fade whatsoever. Is it? Well, it's a gold star box. I think it's not the original clamshell, but because the DNS clamshells are most of the time red, but anyway, it looks cool. I don't have like a DNS clamshell on the side, sadly. So yeah, this is what it looks like on the back. Well, absolutely gorgeous copy from 1987. 1987. Okay, next, let's move on to, we have an adulterio here, and it's called Brain Waves. I sadly forgot the original title for this, but as usual, I just put it down below right here. So, like right here. So no problem. You will get the original title along with the date. I think it's early 80s, if I remember correctly, 1981. Something like Nightmares, if I'm correct. Anyway, you do have the title now. So Brainwaves, early 80s, I think. Not slasher, but horror film. It's quite rare, by the way. I think it's the first time I do get a copy of this. Does have sun fade, I believe. I mean, yeah, maybe the spine, everything should have been yellow. I don't know. But it's otherwise really good looking. And yeah, it's the original Aju clamshell, and it's the yellow Aju clamshell. Those ones, the yellow ones, are kind of rare because Aju usually makes black or red, but also yellow. And the yellow ones, I don't know, I don't see them very often. But with this title, it kind of fits perfectly, I think. Here you go. And inside, see the beautiful Aju logo right there. So Brainwaves. Okay, next, I didn't remember about this one, but in Korea, this is one thing you should know, guys. Korean collectors of videotapes, they're really after those films. You know, it's just, I guess it's a nostalgia factor, and because, you know, Korean videotape collectors tend to go for kids films. Maybe because, you know, they remember about these films when they were kids. They don't really go for horror film that much or other genres. But the kids films are stuff that, I mean, if you have something you want that happens to be a kids film, good luck. Good luck, because you have to fight to get those. I mean, you have to fight against, you know, the horde of other Korean collectors that do want them, and they tend to go for quite a high price. This one was no exception. I had to pay a bit of money for it, but I'm pretty happy I grabbed it because it's really hard to get. A friend of mine told me this is Hello Dracula. It came out, I think, even on DVD in Japan, but perhaps full screen. I don't know the full extent of the infos about this film, but anyway, the Korean release is pretty cool. It's probably dubbed in Korean as well. Again, I'm not sure. I really just picked it up because this kind of stuff is super hard to find in Korea. I mean, because like I said, the collectors here, they jump on that stuff. Like whenever it's somewhere, even crappy condition, Koreans will buy it no matter what. But this one was decent. The tape was also pretty clean. I cleaned it up anyway, but it was already fairly clean. It comes in its original clamshell as well. Another aju right here. But this, as you can see, this one is red. The previous one was yellow. So yeah, they have a variety of clamshells. So Hello Dracula, the Korean release, really cool. Okay. Oh, this one is a big one. I should have kept this one for the end, but why not? I have it now, so might as well just show it to you. It's Rabid Grannies. Perhaps the first time I ever seen this in South Korea. It's super rare. Simply because, yeah, it's the first time I see it. I didn't even know this existed in South Korea. So when I was presented with this, Korean collector I know had this in his collection, I'm like, dude, I want it. Yeah, I got it. I was super happy. It is in pretty good shape. It's not like totally unfaded, but it's a solid pick, I would say. I mean, for something that I've never seen before, it's so nice. And look at those photos. It's so cool. Rabid Grannies. Yep. I think that was released by Troma back in the States, or re-released by Troma or something like that. Well, thankfully there's no Troma indication on this cover. It's just like Rabid Grannies. There you go. Okay, let's move on. Right here I have something I had in the past, although this copy is pretty good. It's called El Juego del Adulterio, so something of adultery, adultère. Sorry, my French, but I always put again the title down here. So I guess that was a Spanish film, if I'm correct. Once again, you can see the spine is almost red. It's just a slightly pink, but everything else is in excellent condition. Look at this. Isn't it gorgeous? So beautiful. As you know, Life, the label Life, they do make like some really cool releases. I mean, with the cover art, they always keep original cover art, and those old films always have like cool like drawings, paintings and stuff. So that's one good thing about the Life releases. And this is from 1985, by the way. So yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh, next one. This is another rare one. We have, and I'll proudly say the title in French. It's called Le Lac des Morts Vivants. So Zombie Lake. Yeah, that's Zombie Lake in English. So Zombie Lake, the movie by is it Jean? No, Jean Rollin is. Oh, no, that's Jean Rollin. Lac des Morts Vivants is Jean Rollin. So this is Jean Rollin. I was confused for a second with Oasis of Zombies, which is Jess Franco. So this is the Jean Rollin movie. As you can see here on the spine, not in the best condition, of course. A bit of sun fade, not too bad. But here, yeah, this was kind of ripped, sadly. The front is kind of a bit the same. If you look at the corner right here, it's, yeah, I mean, this is just like normal damage for the age. I mean, usually for that kind of film. Same here on the spine. Now, this is not your usual damage. I mean, this is a bit bad. And on the back, you're missing like a little chunk on the corner, which is actually very, very sad. I hate that. It really, yeah, it's really, really sad. As you can see here, such a cool drawing. I mean, otherwise, if this would have been like near mint, oh my God, wow, it would have been quite a find. But anyway, I knew about the damage on this one. This wasn't a blind buy. It's just like the price the guy was proposing me for this was kind of okay. So I was like, you know what, this is quite rare, so I'll just jump on it before I cannot find this kind of stuff anymore. So there you go, Le Lac des Morts Vivants, or in English, Zombie Lake by Jean Rollin. Okay, here we have Beasts. This is such a cool cover. I mean, you can't beat that. This is so cool. And the only labels that do release tapes like this, like with such gorgeous covers, usually, like I said, there's Life, there's also DNS, and this one is another Aju. Just like the previous two films I showed you before, the Gangshi film, like the hopping vampire film, and the Brainwaves. So this is the exact same label. There you go, Beasts. And on the back is kind of a bit bland, but I mean, nonetheless, it's really cool to have. This is such a beautiful release. I mean, this kind of cover is something you'd be proud to have in your collection. Okay, here I'm gonna go with another Life. So this is Deadly Obsession. I know last week I kind of said like a whole bunch of time, oh, this is a Aussie film, this is a Aussie film, and I kind of, I was wrong. They weren't like Australian films or South African films. They happen to be like North American films or whatnot. And I do think this one is, Deadly Obsession is, I think this one is either South African film or Australian film, but I do think it's a South African one. I mean, I'm kind of on the fence, but I would say I'm 65% sure it's South African. So there you have it, Deadly Obsession horror film. And this one is really nice because it's in its original Life clamshell. I do, you know how much I love those clamshells here. The baby blue color is so cool, really nice, especially when they're clean. And they're hard to find these days, like in good shape, even though you find a beat up like movie you don't care about, and you're just like buying it for the clamshell. The clamshell happens to be like always like broken or something. So this one is in decent shape, not to say like it's in great shape for the age, because that's 1990. Okay. All right, moving on. We have a movie by the director of Nightmare. Yeah, the notorious Nightmare by, I forgot his name. He got an Italian name anyway, and he didn't make that many movies. But this is the movie he made before. I think it was before Nightmare. And it's called Savage Hunt. You have the title here, Savage Hunt. I do have this also in a small clamshell, which is also super hard to find. But to have this release, which is on a bigger clamshell, is really cool because they both have a totally different artwork on the cover, which makes this release stand out, let's say. So yeah, the screaming never stops. Such a cool release, and it's in really good shape, by the way. Yeah, it does have like a tiny bit of a sun fade, but not much. I mean, to find this, if I was to find a tape like this particular movie in the wild in the same shape, it would be, I wouldn't say like impossible, but I would be extremely surprised, let's say, because you don't find like those old tapes like that without any sun fade. It's nearly impossible. This is 1983. It's a 1983 release. It's super old. Not to say 40 years. Okay, next. Oh, I remember checking for this one. I'm sorry, the title totally skipped my mind. So I'm gonna be brief on this one. I picked it up because I loved the cover. I thought it was something like really odd and kind of unique, not a tape I've seen before, so that's why I picked it up. This label is quite old, Samoa, so it's something like, I think they went on until like super early 90s, and after they died, so that must have been like one of their last releases. What else to say? This is 1992, so yeah, that must have been like one of their very last release. And it is the original clamshell from the same label as well, Samoa. I'm sorry again, I do not mention the title, but I probably put it down right here so you can see what this is exactly. Okay, we are halfway through. So let's keep up the pace, shall we? So right here we have I think this is a Spanish and Turkish co-production. It's called Little Eyewitness, and it's some kind of horror slash giallo from Spain. I've never seen it, but from what I read about it, it looks like something like that. And it's been released on the Sambu label, which is one of the oldest label in South Korea. So there you go, Little Eyewitness. I think I do have another copy of this with a totally different cover. So this is really cool because now I do have both cover art. Which one is the best one, this one or the other one? I can't recall. They are like very unique in their own way, but I think the other one is a bit more appealing, simply because it's not using like a picture like this that looks a little bit like meh. But yeah, so I have two copies now. Little Eyewitness. Okay, now we have something from the late 80s. I think this was a straight-to-video. I'm not too sure, but it's called Murder Lust. Murder Lust. So again, we have a lot of Aju today. I think this is the fourth or fifth one I show you. So this is yet another release by Aju. It has some sun fade, of course, but I mean, it's not a big deal because this kind of stuff is super hard to find now. I mean, to be honest, it's the first time I do see this tape, and that's the reason I picked it up. And because it's a horror film, and because to me it looks like a straight-to-video. Although I'm not too sure about this part, but yeah, I'll have the title and information at the bottom. So this is 1989. So if it has to be a straight-to-video, that would be like kind of like the sweet spot for like straight-to-video stuff. And of course, once again, it's in its original clamshell, the Aju clamshell. Okay, next we have Brother from Space, and this is on the DNS label. This one I know a friend of mine who picked this one up a long time ago. Was kind of jealous because the DNS releases are always really cool to have. But yeah, I managed to find a copy. So as you can see, it's pretty good shape. It's not near mint. It's not like, well, it's, yeah, I mean, the tape itself, yeah, it's, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the clamshell itself is, you know, it's not mint, or I mean, it's not near mint, but the sleeve is, I believe the sleeve is almost next to near mint. The only thing would be like the slight sun fade on the spine as usual, but it is a very good looking copy nonetheless. Now, let me show you inside just for fun. Once again, tape is super pristine. And the good thing here, like I said again, is it's already in its original clamshell, which I love to keep. Oh, next we have something super cool and in excellent shape. I would say like near mint. This is probably unfaded as well. It is Spookies. Spookies. I think this is a title that for the American release is quite sought after, and if I'm not mistaken, goes for some quite some money. The Korean release, I mean, is super hard to find, although it's I think early 90s. But just like I would say Troll 2. This is something I've never seen before. I mean, no, I've seen it before on a website, but it said like sold out for freaking ages. But to have a copy that I seen and I could buy, it's the first time. So this is why for me it's like, wow. And look at this, really cool, really nice pictures on the back. And this is, yep, like I thought, 1990. So this is a 1990 release. Beautiful, bright red. It's unfaded. It's gorgeous. Whoops. and even the tape inside is top shape. Oh, and as a bonus, yeah, sorry I didn't mention it, but yeah, although this clamshell looks like a little bit like, okay, it's great, it's not too great, but it is the original Seoul tape clamshell. So that's always another huge plus. Okay, next we have a Chinese film. I can't remember if this was a Taiwanese. I think it is. Once again, sorry, I forgot the title. I'll put it down below. It's a ghost story. I think this was from the early 70s. I did have this in the past. It always sells pretty well when I do have a copy. But it's been a while since I had one. So since now I have one, well, this will go for sale. And then you have a couple of cool screenshots on the back. So yeah, there you go. So it's a Chinese or Taiwanese ghost story, kung fu perhaps a little bit as well, in very good shape. All right, next we have She. So, or S dash H dash E. So She, with Omar Sharif and a bunch of other famous actors of that era, like Fabio Testi, which I thought it was meant to be, well, that's what it says on the top here, 007, so perhaps like a James Bond ripoff, but a female version. A little bit like what they try to do these days, but that was back in the late 70s. Was it popular or not? I do remember the title, I do remember the cover art and everything, but I've never seen the film. This one is in pristine shape. It is absolutely near mint. No sun fade whatsoever. It's not a film like I would really care otherwise, but since it was in top shape, I couldn't help myself but to buy it. So yeah, there it is, She. Perhaps it's gonna interest someone. I mean, if it was all beat up, I would have never taken this, but since it was like near mint, like perfect top shape, I picked it up. And it's also in its original clamshell, as you can see here, maybe with the reflection. Sambu, so Sambu clamshell, beautiful. Okay, next we have yet another small clamshell, but it's not in a small clamshell, it's in one of those like thing with the paper that I told you before. It's called Castle of Creeping Flesh. Once again, this is a tape. I think it's the first time I do see it. It's not unfaded, sadly, but the overall condition of the sleeve is very beautiful. I mean, there's no stain, no watermark. I mean, no water, but no, we'd call that watermark? Water damage, sorry, not watermark. There's no water damage, anything like that. So it's in beautiful condition. And I believe it's a quite rare tape in South Korea to get a hold of. And this was released back in 1985. 1985. Castle of the Creeping Flesh. Let me just show you the tape inside, which is beautiful. Voila. Here you go. Okay, we're approaching the end. Okay, next I have here is Day of Violence. It's a quite unique cover. And this was on the Fine label. They used to come up with like really cool covers like this. The Fine label, and I would say maybe the Life label, they have, to me, like they do look similar. Like they always like release the same kind of films, genres, and they always put like a similar kind of artwork as well. But Fine always go like a mile above Life for the covers, let's say. They always put like something like really artistic. I mean, this is really cool for cover. And if you look on the back, it's the same kind of thing. So I really love it. It's very unique. So Day of Violence, also in pretty good shape. There you have it. Okay, next. Oh, this is actually very unique. I think it's a very shitty movie, perhaps, but it's so unique to have this on Korean release. It's like, wow. It's called Kill the Golden Goose. I don't even know if there's like a North American release of this, and if there is, it's probably hard to get, I would say. Oh, and here you have, I think this is Reese from like Terminator. Probably. The photos probably don't have anything to do with the film. I mean, let me just scan here. Yeah, I don't think this is in the movie. Or maybe it is. You tell me down below. All right, so Kill the Golden Goose. I mean, the cover itself isn't like amazing or whatever, but the film I think is quite unique. So this was a really cool catch. Okay. Oh, this is such a gorgeous tape. This is beautiful. Bridge to Nowhere, or Bridge to Nowhere. This was a horror film, people stuck in the wood, a little bit like, you know, maybe not Friday the 13th with like a supernatural killer or whatnot, but more like Wolf Creek, maybe, like the Australian film, but back in the days, I don't know. It reminds me of this a little bit. Let's say like the ancestor of Wolf Creek. I could be wrong, by the way. I've never seen the film, but that's the vibe I get from this this cover and what I read in the description. So Bridge to Nowhere it's SKC, but it's the Munhua production here, this label. And it's in actually top shape, unfaded. It's gorgeous. Look at this. Beautiful. And the way you can see also is the picture on the spine here, if it's unfaded, because this usually also, you know, this is where you have the most colors on this spine, right? But it's the same quality as the front cover, so there's no decoloration or whatsoever. So again, really cool stuff is that this is the first time I do see this tape ever, and happens to be near mint. So I'm super happy about this. All right, next we have another Sambu. This is the second time I find this tape. I know a European collector was after this for a while. I think I got him the small clamshell version of this, but this is the big clamshell version of the film. They both have the same, I think, the same cover, so there's nothing like really unique of getting like both copies. If you have one, I guess it's fine. But I just felt the urge to pick it up anyway because it's super rare. So it's Current Cross. It's a rare giallo with Ivan Rasimov. And it's also, well, look on the back, it's super nice as well. Typical giallo. And it is, like I said, it's on the Sambu label, and you have the beautiful little Sambu label on the spine. And it's cool because it is a green clamshell, and the green clamshells are actually quite hard to get by. I think I said that in the previous video as well. I think I had like one tape that happened to be with the green clamshell, and it does fit like really nicely with this cover, like to have the yellow, the green, and the red. It's a nice match. Okay. Next, we have yet another copy of Midnight by John Russo, who was the producer of Night of the Living Dead. This film is quite hard to come by. I mean, it's not like super crazy hard to find, but it is hard to find, and especially in great shape. This one is not, again, near mint because it does have some sun fade. You can see again, it's the yellow. The yellow is not as yellow as the front. So this is again your indication, but everything else is unfaded. So the purple here, the pink here, the red is red. It's sadly just the yellow. So I think I would consider that like almost near mint in this condition. Anyway, it is also by far the best copy I've ever found of the film. I think I do have another one in stock, but it's not as unfaded as this one. Oh, and speaking of, before I said Aju, see, this is fun because now I get to show you the black Aju clamshell. Here you see the Aju label. This one is black. Before we had the red one, and we also had the yellow one. And by the way, I've always seen midnight in the black clamshell. So maybe some of you might say, oh, but the yellow with the yellow clamshell might be cool, but it's not. I don't think it was intended to match with the yellow clamshell, or maybe, who knows. And this was released, the tape was released in 1987. All right, we are almost done, but not yet. Next, we have a commandment. I think this one is called Ninja Commandment or something along those lines. And it's a, of course, a cut and paste with ninjas by Godfrey Ho or Joseph Lay. I think it's Lay. Joseph Lay, one of those two guys. It's quite hard to find. Once again, I did find it in the past. But I never picked it up. Why? Because it was moldy as hell. This one was okay, so I did pick it up. So there you have it. And I did check it. So I mean, I did check the beginning to see if it plays well and everything, and it does. And it's the English, of course, version, because you have all the cut and paste with the English-speaking actors. And the cool thing again, it's in its original DNS clamshell, which is always a plus, as I said a million times in this video. Okay, next. Oh, this is really nice. Well, you might say, well, it's just Blade Runner, who cares? You're right, it's just Blade Runner. But like I showed you in the previous video, I had this in the past because this is the first release in Korea of Blade Runner. And what's so cool about it, it comes in a, well, first of all, in the blue clamshell, the NVC release on the NVC clamshell here. And the box is blue, and usually Blade Runner you would, I think, associate it with a red cover, right? Like the DVDs, the Blu-rays, the tapes that were released in the past, they were all like black and blue, black and red. And to have this film with a blue cover is so unusual, which is something I really like. And of course, 2019 right here. And yeah, the other copy I had of this was a bit beat up, and it was like really sun faded. That was like the only drawback with the other copy. This one doesn't have any flaws. I mean, on the cover, it's not ripped. It's not like there's no water damage or anything, although it does have like a bit of sun fade. But other than that, which is like a little bit, it's just the red is pink, that's it. Otherwise, super nice copy. So I was super happy to find this, because like I said, this is really rare, really hard to find. I can find the one with the red clamshell because they re-released it in South Korea on tape after, but the first release with the blue clamshell and the blue cover is hard to find in South Korea now. Okay, we're down to 3 tapes, guys. 3 tapes. Let me put them here. Okay, the first one, Werewolf Shadow, or La Noche del Valpurris. My God, my Spanish isn't good. Valpurris, something like that. I mean, it's right here at the bottom. Like, so this was a Paul Naschy film, I think, or at least it features Paul Naschy. I don't know if he directed the film. This copy, by the way, is unfaded. As you can see here, red, the lettering is red, everything is in top shape. Well, you can compare the front, the spine, you see, the same red. So this is an unfaded copy. And again, it used to be a bit easy to, I mean, I wouldn't say easy, that would be far-fetched, but I would say it would be like a hard to find / you can find it once every year and a half kind of tape, or every 2 years. But I would say since 2018, this kind of stuff is like now almost impossible to find. But the fact that I did find this one copy here and it's unfaded is truly remarkable. And once again, let me show you the cassette inside. Right here, unfaded. It says DNS, but Dongyang, by the way, is also DNS. It's the same label, sort of. It's it merged with another label and they became DNS. So that's why it's Dongyang. Dongyang is the D, the S is I'm not sure, maybe Sekyong or something like that. I forgot who it was, but someone told me before. I just forgot. Anyway, so you have it here, Werewolf Shadow, near mint copy, unfaded. Speaking of near mint unfaded, let's continue with this trend here. We have Rotor, which is I mean, the cover looks like the first Mad Max, but I think it does more of Terminator than Mad Max. I've never seen the film. Apparently it's shit. Well, I mean, if you're in the mood for a film like that, you got a couple beers, this might be the best movie ever, but you know what I mean. But I love those movies, by the way. I do love those tapes, finding those releases. They're gorgeous. It's also yeah, I forgot what I wanted to say. Anyway, beautiful release, near mint, no sun fade, 1988 release. Right here you have it at the bottom. Rotor, there you go. I think this would look gorgeous, like in anyone's collection. If you're into those post-apocalyptic film, Terminator ripoffs, whatnot, I mean, this is the kind of stuff you need. Okay, and now we're down to the last tape. It's nothing special, although I would say it is special because it's the most beautiful copy of this film I've ever found, and it's The Burning. But this copy, I would qualify it as extremely rare. You would be like, okay, why? I've seen this cover before. You showed it to us before. Yes, you're right. But to find it like this, absolutely unfaded, new. It looks like it's brand new. Look, even the clamshell. I didn't change the clamshell. This is the original clamshell. Look, it's all like bright and shiny. It's beautiful. I mean, it's near mint. This is near mint. I wouldn't say mint. I mean, mint, this is very close to mint for me. I mean, I could say it's mint. But yeah, let's just be fair here, because there's nothing like really mint unless it's been like just unwrapped. I would say it's like, this is like a high near mint. The tape is also very beautiful inside. Gorgeous. Whoops. Here, I think I didn't even open it up. It was already all clean like this. So this is cool. And another fun thing to check out right here is you can see there's the tab is still there. You know, if you remove this, I mean, if you don't remove it, it means you can tape on top of what's on the tape. So if you want to record something on the TV, so the fact that this wasn't even broken, it means like it's brand new. So the cassette is brand new. Sorry, let me focus. The cassette is brand new. The tape itself looks totally brand new. I mean, wow. So yeah, anyway, guys, I'm gonna finish with this. So that's all I have for you today. So we went through exactly about 30 tapes, if not more. I think it was like 32 tapes. I'm gonna have another 30 tapes for you. I think I should wait another week, because if I just dump a whole bunch of tapes, you're just gonna be overwhelmed. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. You got all this easy, which is not the case, by the way, because I did have to deal with some people online and stuff. It was a bit of a headache, and the cleaning period was extremely excruciating. I can't stress this enough, I'm sorry. So yeah, I'm gonna wait another week, okay, to show you the last batch of tapes. Are there any like amazing tapes in there? I mean, I could clickbait you and say, yeah, wait, there's gonna be like crazy stuff, guys, but I don't go for the clickbaiting bullshit. So I would say, yeah, there's some really nice stuff. But like, if you're waiting for things like Last House on the Left and amazing stuff like that I showed you last week, forget about it. There's none of that stuff in there. But it's more or less like this week. All right. So everything I showed you this week, I would show you about the same kind of stuff next week. I mean, not the same videos, but I mean the same kind of rarity and shape of tapes and stuff like that you don't really find very often. All right, so just to give you a gauge of what to expect. And that said, in January, I'm also trying to get a bunch of other tapes. They're all blind buys. By that I mean stuff I'm gonna purchase online. The person didn't have any photos. It's just like one picture of the tape like this. I don't know what the cassette inside looks like. It may be all moldy. I have to throw it away. The prices are not great, but some of those tapes are super rare. So I mean, keep checking the channel, because I'm gonna try to get those tapes, and we'll see what's gonna happen. Maybe I'm gonna, you know, be super lucky and have like amazing stuff in top shape. Who knows? Although I don't think so, but I mean, we never know, because I do reinvest some of the money I make with those tapes to buy more, to offer you guys more stuff, amazing rare tapes from South Korea. Okay, enough rambling right now. So yeah, thank you guys. Have a great, amazing new year. I hope you're healthy in 2023. I hope you get all the best tapes you can, good prices, and stay awesome. And yeah, if you have anything you want to let me know, I mean, just comment down below. And if you can also subscribe, that's always amazing, and I always love it. So thanks again, guys, and see you again, I would say next week. All right, cheers.